nice, brother.
Baby.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Alice fans don't know what these are.
Gets it, Saquon Barkley, first down. Barkley, Saquon.
E-A-G-L-E-S-G.
Go Birds, baby!
Welcome back to the Under the Wing podcast. We got a good one in store for you. We're coming off a good win. Will it spark us back into victories?
Freddie.
Who knows? What up, Freddie? We also got a few
Go
guests
Birds.
with us as well. Add to the stage, Chaos Chris and Jesse.
What's up, fellas? How we doing tonight?
How we feeling?
Go Birds, dickhead! We fucking back. We are back already.
Guy.
I already dropped an F-bomb 2 minutes into the show. I apologize.
You better.
But no, I mean, the Eagles looked great Sunday. Jalen Hurts is back. The Eagles are back. And is it Tanner McKee season? He's perfect so far. So
No. We're not doing that today.
Dude.
We're not doing that today, okay? Last week, if you would have been on, we could have done that. We are not doing that today, okay? Do not even do that today.
Look, blanket statement here. You know,
Oh,
before
boy.
we get too
Here
deep
we
into
go.
the show, Tanner
Oh,
McKee is like the next Nick Foles, dude.
Oh my god.
God. Yeah, it's time for him to take over right now so they can win the Super Bowl.
No,
We need
I'm
Jalen
not.
to snap his knee this week.
Look,
Oh my
look.
god.
I'm just saying. The year we went to the Super Bowl, Carson Wentz would have won us the Super Bowl. Okay, it's the same with Jalen Hurts. You know, Jalen Hurts is better. I'm not going to deny it. But
But he
Nick
doesn't have a
Foles-
torn ACL yet. Thank the
Look,
God.
You're picking up what I'm putting down. Tanner McKee
No,
is
I'm
very
not.
similar to Nick Foles' play
All
style,
right.
except for his freaking 10-yard rush. The other day, did you see that? That dude, oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I love Tanner. I love him. And look, if Hurts goes down, I'm not that worried. I'm not saying Hurts is the issue. I love Hurts. I think Hurts has won us or gotten us to 2 Super Bowls where he's played like a baller. But I love Tanner.
We beat a 2-11 Raiders team, and these fellas don't know how to act.
No, I've been saying this. I've been saying this since I saw him play against the Giants. Was that last season?
Yes.
He looked good. I mean, the Giants, like they're a bad team, but he's going up against NFL players, starters. I'm just saying.
Thank you, Jesse. It is absolute blasphemy.
You know
But
what,
anyway,
Jesse? Say it with your mouth.
moving,
Dude. Come on.
moving onward.
Don't hide
Uh-huh.
behind your alias.
We got a great show packed for you guys tonight. We're just gonna go over some Week 15 stuff. There's a lot of injuries that happened, so we're just gonna update you on a few that we know of. This guy got his question for you. Week 16, big week in the NFL. We're gonna cover all that, and then later we'll have another segment where we just kind of go over all the scenarios for playoff clinching. The couple divisions, I think 2 that can be clinched this weekend. Then I'll give you like a bold take. You know, last week didn't come to fruition. So hey, I'm glad, but my magic worked. So maybe I'll have to pick against the Eagles this week. But we'll jump right into it for Week 15. And we did have 2 teams before we get too far. We had 2 teams clinch playoff spots, and that would be the Broncos and the Rams. The Broncos clinched by beating the Packers. Rams clinched by beating the Lions, and that's where we're going to start. The Rams 41, the Lions 34. The Lions are hanging in there by a thread. They are like it's very, very inconsistent week in and week out. I mean, they had a big lead. It was 24-14 at one point, and the Lions let it slip away. I know the Rams are at home. The Rams are really good at home, but the Lions, they've got to figure it out. I know their secondary is decimated, but they've got to figure it out. What do you think the Lions can do with 3 weeks remaining left?
Not much. I think they might be a one and done type team. I feel like there's a lot of teams like that. Like the Packers don't really jump out at me. I think the Buccaneers are out now, right? I think there's just a lot of those teams that are, they're just not very good. The The only ones that I really like, the Rams are really good, but besides that, maybe the 49ers, but I don't trust them either. Like it's kind of wide open, the NFC right now.
Yeah. Yeah, NFC is definitely wide open. Well, what about you, Jesse?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, really, to me, their main playmaker, it's got to be Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
I remember when we played him. I swear, he's like a fan. The Eagles played him, and I've played him in fantasy multiple times. My God, he's absolutely destroyed me and really every defense that he comes across. 13 for 38. Unfortunately, in this one, but like when he's not on, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I love, he definitely taken a step back, and Jared Goff, he had a good one. This one, 25-41, 25-41 with 3 touchdowns. But he's not a guy to me that is a difference maker amongst the top 5, top 3 in the league. You know, the Staffords, the Hurts is the, you know, even you can make an argument. Honestly, I know the Cowboys are on the verge of getting eliminated.
Yeah.
Get into, but even, and I hate to say this, but like Dak's been pretty good this year, you know. So
And Jesse with the oh my gosh. Okay, so we got Tanner McKee's good, Dak's good.
Come on.
You guys are just batting 1,000 right now tonight, okay? Boys?
Tell me Tanner McKee isn't good.
Anyway,
All the, like, come on, man.
we'll get to Tanner in a little bit.
Oh, we will. It's a part of Mooner's question.
So, the second game, the other clincher, the Broncos beat the Packers. They were also down, I think, almost 10 points. It was like 23-14 at one point. It looked like the Packers had it wrapped up, and the Broncos, like they've done all year, came storming back.
All year.
I'm not even going to ask it because I ask it every week. So, yeah, so at this point, I feel like it is clear. Like, the Broncos, I guess, can sustain winning from behind.
Yeah, I know, but, like, that's not going to be – I don't think that's going to be able to hold up in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be like, every game. Like, it seems like, a comeback. Anybody who has Bo Nix in fantasy football is in the third quarter like, I hate this guy. I'm benching him. He's only gotten me 3 points. And then you check, and he drops like a 25 burger on you. And it's like, thank you again, Bo Nix. But it's like that. There is no way that's going to hold up all the way into the Super Bowl, even for them to even win a Super Bowl. I'm not rooting against them. You know, I like Bo Nix.
I'm rooting against them.
Never hated on the Broncos. But I'm kind of wanting them to be exposed at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Every time.
Josh Allen won't lose a game up 10.
Yeah.
But it's this whole thing. It's a better alternative than, you know, Kansas City doing literally anything at all. Like listen, nobody wishes injury upon anybody. Let me get that out of the way. But I would much rather see the Chargers, even though I think Justin Herbert's a little bit of a fraud, and Bo Nix, who I think is also a fraud.
I think it's just a sophomore slump this year.
Who, Herbie?
No, for Nix.
Frauds.
That's my guess. I mean, he looked way too good his freshman season. So,
well, Jesse brought up the Chiefs, and may we all have a moment of silence. Just kidding. The Chiefs got eliminated from playoff contention for the first time in the last, I believe it's 8 years that they've been eliminated. Like it's week 15 and they are done.
Mahomes has never missed the playoffs.
But Mahomes as a starter has never missed the playoffs. They'd gone to like 7 or 8 straight NAFC championships. It's all snapped. And you know who did it? The Birds did it. We showed everybody.
You're welcome, world.
You're welcome. Exactly. You're welcome, world. I think it's kind of a statement game, though, from the Chargers, too, in a way, because so the Chargers kicked off the season in Brazil. They beat the Chiefs. And everybody was like, okay, it might have been a fluke. They were away. It was Brazil. They went into Arrowhead, and they held the Chiefs' offense to 13 points. I know the Chiefs don't have, like, the greatest of weapons. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have – he was banged up before the injury that happened on Sunday, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But they really just they sat the Chiefs down, and then Chris Jones after the game saying, "We still got a fighting chance." No, you don't, big dog. No, you don't.
He literally found it. He literally goes in that very next sentence. He goes, "Are we out of the playoffs?" And the reporter goes, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right."
6
That's
and
crazy.
8 on the season.
Oh, that's awesome.
We all prayed for the Chiefs' downfall, and
Look,
we got a great one.
The
this year.
look, the guys at work made fun of me because I said that the Eagles killed the Chiefs franchise. I said Mahomes is washed. He's not going to do it again. They said you're an idiot. He's gonna. I said, maybe at most I'm going to give him one Super Bowl appearance, and then they made fun of me for that too. And yo, knowledge 100, dude. Yo, Sean, I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to dox nobody. Rest in peace, my boy. But look, he didn't die. I'm just. But all these people, they making fun of me. All right, and I called it. I have a lot of really bad takes, and sometimes,
I know.
when you're fishing for a fluke, you might catch
one of my bold takes at the beginning of the year or something was the Chiefs weren't going to make the playoffs. So you're welcome. Okay.
Oh, really?
It was one of like the first episodes or something. Like it was like week 5, and I was like, yeah, the Chiefs, they're not making the playoffs.
Now I remember when we
was
were
right.
when we were guessing each division, I think we put Chiefs like number 2 in their division.
Yeah.
And it was like
Really?
and that was a really hot take. It wasn't so hot of a take now that we're looking at it in the future.
And speaking of divisions, the AFC East, it's not over yet because the Bills come back down 24-7.5, and they beat the Patriots in Foxborough. Are the Bills? We see the Bills in a couple weeks. Are the Bills legit? Do you think they can come and take over the AFC East? Because the Patriots, I believe, are 11-3. The Bills are 10-4. So there's a game in between them. They split the season series.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do the Bills have a chance, do you think, to take that division? Or do you think it's Drake May and the Patriots are going to do enough to get by, win the division, get the 2 seed at least, and we'll see them in the playoffs?
Look, I'll let these guys speak, but like me personally, I think the Bills are gonna, come into a wild card, and I think they're gonna do good in the playoffs. I mean, they don't gotta hit the Chiefs, and beating the Patriots just shows us that they can win big games. They've choked a few little ones,
Yeah.
but they've always been a team that can win big games. I mean, of course, unless they're up against the Chiefs for some reason, but they're not a threat. I think maybe they'll lose another AFC championship, but I think they could very well win big enough to at least appear in the Super Bowl. That's not completely disproportionate.
Yeah, I think that the Bills might be better off if they do make it as the second place team and not like after coming from behind and doing this massive comeback just to win the AFC East than choke in the first or second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be more advantageous for them to be at home in the playoffs, or you think they would do better on the road?
I don't think it matters that much in the AFC right now. Just because they're mostly outdoor stadiums anyway, and the Bills are an outdoor team, so are the Patriots. So that really isn't going to be that much of a factor. Trying to think of any of the other teams in the AFC there that would, like maybe the Texans, but I'm not as high on the Texans as some people are. Like, yeah, they have a tremendous defense, but I'm not buying the offense.
You know who else had a tremendous defense last year?
The Ravens did.
Anyway,
they had a nice win. They did have a nice win last week. They did.
Yeah. We got Phillip Rivers, after 5 years, made his return, played the Seahawks. I don't know what's worse. The fact that the Colts only scored 16 points, or that the Colts defense held the Seahawks to 6 field goals and they still lost.
And they choked at the end.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I'm a big red zone guy and kind of got snowed in this weekend, so didn't have to go anywhere. And I was watching red zone for the late games, and every time I saw the Colts come on, it was at the end, like a third down, and it looked like Phillip Rivers was just straight checking down. Now I saw he did make a few good passes, got hit a couple times, got up, but do the Colts have a fighting chance left, or is the Colts season just a wash and like Phillip Rivers is not the guy who they thought they were getting?
They better hope Tanner McKee can somehow go over there, because they're screwed if not.
You and this Tanner
What
McKee
about you,
stuff.
Jesse? I got my opinion on this.
Yeah, no, I'm. Well, I got two things. One, I really didn't think Philip Rivers played as bad as you guys think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did have that, that one interception. But listen, 120 yards, 18 for what, 27, something like that. Like for a almost 50-year-old man, that's not that bad, honestly.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, they really don't, outside of Jonathan Taylor, like, dude, they don't have the wide receivers for it. And honestly, their schedule upcoming, dude, it's so brutal. They've got the Niners, Jags, and Texans. Like, you're putting a fossil against Nick Bosa. Like, come on, be so for real.
Yeah.
And then against one of the most underrated defenses in all of football in Jacksonville. Yes, I said it. Like, you're putting Rivers, a legend, in a position of failure. I don't get it. But you also don't have many options. So
Yeah. Now, look, my opinion on this, it's gonna differ from you guys. His stats, like, they don't reflect how, like, decent he looked, considering he jumped into this pretty head first. Like, 2 weeks ago, he probably wasn't even planning or thinking that he would be even on an NFL team, let alone starting. So it's been a shock. I think for him, he wanted to jump in and he thought it'd be fun. I think he is somebody who would be happy with how he's performed in one way or another. But you got to think about it this way. The Seahawks have been one of the best defenses in the league. And if he can look that decent against the Seahawks defense, I don't think he's going to beat the Texans. But I think next week he's going to be a little bit more prepared. I think the week after he's going to be a little bit more prepared. And quite frankly, like look, jumping into a game head first against one of the best defenses in the league and not looking terrible at the age of 1,000 years old, or however old he is, like 44, 45. I'm just saying that I think they still have a chance. I'm not going to rule them out. I think there's 100% a chance there. Of course, I'm rooting for him. I'm biased towards him, but, there's a chance.
Do you think he can win a playoff game?
I think he could win at least one.
Really? Okay.
At least one. If anything, one. I don't think he's going to win two. I don't think he's going to go all the way. I would love to be wrong about that, but,
If they can establish a run game with Jonathan Taylor, they can do whatever they want.
It's true.
That's the real key. Is if they can establish the run game with Jonathan Taylor, he's not going to need to throw it more than like 15 times, and he's experienced enough. It's kind of almost like a Joe Flacco thing, where like he's experienced enough and he's been around long enough to like know, like, yeah, like this is where I'm going to throw it. This is who I shouldn't throw it to. This is where I should, like, he can identify coverages, all that kind of stuff. And the thing that like helps him the most is his Huns high school team that he was coaching. He was coaching the same offense that Shane Steichen is running in Indianapolis. So it's very clear that he's acclimated in the system. That's where he came from. It's the last team he played for. So I don't think it's far-fetched to say he could look better over the next few weeks. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Colts are going to be able to stay in position to make the playoffs. I just think with all the teams pushing for playoff spots, I think they're going to fall out just short.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't rule them out. No, it is disappointing. But I mean, nobody expected Daniel Jones to do anything this season, and he did.
Yeah,
so.
I will say, if they did make it in as like a 7th seed, you're going up against New England, bro. Like, that's a tough. Even though, after last week against Buffalo, I think the defense is
run the ball, bro. Run the ball.
You have one of the best running backs in the entire league. You know?
Yeah.
So
Well, speaking of try not to blow it, I'm going to go over 2 games real quick. You got the Saints beating the Panthers and the Falcons beating the Bucks. Can we just eliminate the whole NFC South from the playoffs?
Feels like this every year.
It's every year, but none of these teams deserve to make the playoffs. I mean, so the one thing the Buccaneers have going for them is they're starting to get healthy again. Mike Evans came back on Thursday night, had a great game. Their defense completely choked the game away. Not the Falcons. The Panthers, though, that's a game you got to win. Like, straight up, that's a game you got to win. Especially after watching Thursday night's game, and I know they did. Like, especially after that, you go, okay, if we go in there, we win, we control our destiny. We're going to get into it a little bit later. They play the Buccaneers this week. They play them again in 2 weeks. Like, they could control the destiny. They could have been a game up and been ready to just rock and roll. But now it's like, wow, we got to make sure we don't mess up next week. We got to make sure we don't mess up the week after that. And then 2 weeks, we got to play them again. So it's very interesting to see whether one of these teams will be able to figure it out, or if we're just going to have a limp noodle NFC South team go in there and just get blown out and obliterated in the first round.
Yeah, I'd like to face one of the teams.
Too bad we can't. I wish we could, but it'll be a division winner. So, I mean, unless they get a freak win, who knows? But I don't see them winning in the first round, either of them.
it's a shame because Bryce, he didn't have a good game. Honestly, he didn't. 15 for 24. He didn't have any interceptions, which is nice. But 163 yards against the Saints, bro. Like, come on, be serious. And he's one of the biggest reasons that, the Panthers are doing what they're doing as of late. I wouldn't say that he's number 1 overall pick worthy still. But I mean, he's been nice. But yeah, I would say this. I know the schedule's not the toughest thing in the world, but this was a big blow. To your step, because the Buccaneers, contrary to what you guys think, I mean, I always have PTSD when playing the Bucs. I do. From that year that they knocked us out, when we choked in 2023. I always especially playing in Tampa, that has got to be, forgetting the fan aspect for a sec, the weather, that has got to be, that looks like it's one of the most tough, one of the toughest environments in all of football. So honestly, the Bucs, to me, right now they're at 500. They're 7-7, but they've got honestly, they've got an easy schedule coming up. They do. Panthers, Dolphins, who, my God, you want to talk about a absolutely fraudulent franchise. Talk about the Dolphins, because Jesus Christ, they look terrible against. Oh my God, oh my God, they're such frauds. It's not even funny. But
Daniel, if you're looking for
OC,
if you're looking for an offensive coordinator position because you won't have your job after this year,
good.
This guy named Jalen Hurts is looking for a new offensive coordinator.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers put up 30 against you guys.
Look, forget Kellen Moore. I feel like Nick Sirianni is just forming these offensive coordinators from his bowels at this point. I don't understand how we keep getting these terrible OCs and they keep getting offered head coaching jobs. Kellen Moore, that was well deserved. We should have paid him whatever the heck he was asking for. I don't care, okay? But, we're pulling these dudes out of thin air, walking down the street of Philly do you want a job, sir? And it's why are we doing this?
You get a job, and you get a job.
The talent can't carry us that far alone.
What's up, Jason?
What up, Jay?
They look damn good on Sunday. He called a damn good game on Sunday.
Yeah, that look.
He did.
But the issue is everybody's going to be Yo, Eagles fans win a game against the Raiders and they're going crazy.
Jason, are you a Jalen Hurts is the problem kind of guy?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, hey, if you are,
God.
I respect it. But
Are you like
We don't
Kevin
need any
Fitzgerald
more.
or
We don't.
something?
We don't
No,
need
I'll
any
say-
more Tanner McGee propaganda.
yeah, as far as Patullo goes, his play calling over the last few weeks, he's gotten a lot better. I want to say before the Chargers, it was the Bears. That game, towards the end of the Bears game, things were looking a little bit better. Like they were starting to run routes across the middle of the field. They were doing a lot better conceptually wise. And then in the Chargers game, they looked really like, if not for the Jalen Hurts 5 turnovers, and even though he had 5 turnovers, they were still 3 points away from winning the game. So that offensively, that was not a bad game called at all. And then Sunday, yes, it was the Raiders. They're 2-11. Dude, it was a beautiful game plan, beautiful call, beautiful execution, like beautiful all around. But before we get to that game, really quickly, let's take a moment and let's laugh at our local Cowboys fans because they lost to the Minnesota Vikings, and now they have a 1% chance, 1% chance of making the playoffs. And you know how they got to do that? By winning out and by us losing out. And quite frankly, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I don't think that's going to happen. But yes, Jason, we did that already. Laughed at the Chiefs fans. We're laughing at the Cowboys fans. We're laughing at them all till we get knocked out in the first round. But anyway,
is that it for week 15?
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
let's
I was
go
gonna
over
say-
the Eagles and the Raiders next.
Do we have a separate segment for that or
Dude,
not?
the last time the Chiefs got
If you
knocked
want,
out
we
of
can
the
kind
playoffs,
of group them together. if you
Kansas
want.
City Royals
Group one together.
won the World
Eagles.
Series.
We'll just go
Come
over
on now.
this one next, this, and then we can kind of group it together as we go through that.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to the Eagles eventually. I just figured since you brought up the Chiefs, that's a great segue into our next segment here is the big time injuries. Look at that. You even put them at Joey. You're so good at them, Joey. Oh my god.
All right, we're gonna go through these quickly. 'Cause
Dalton loves.
we are going a little bit, not too long, but yeah. just
I
trying to
mean, we
keep it-
spent 30 minutes
I
on
know,
the first segment.
trying to
so.
keep it a little quicker. Patrick Mahomes, everybody's favorite quarterback, down with an ACL injury.
I'm not cheering that somebody got
Yes.
hurt. That's terrible. Okay?
We're not saying we're happy.
So-
we're just saying
We're
this is
happy
what
the Chiefs are
happens.
down. We're happy
Chiefs
that
fans.
Mahomes is down, but not how or why. Look,
No, we don't have the call-in line. That's Dalton. Dalton has that.
maybe eventually. But look, just clarification, because we might laugh and joke and all that. We don't condone, we're not happy that anybody goes through any injury, okay? Don't take anything out of context, please. Not that we're going to get canceled
Yes.
or anything. But
But another ACL injury, Micah Parsons. That's a big blow to the Packers.
yeah.
And also on the Packers, Christian Watson and Zach Tom both went down with injuries. So not good news for the Packers, who we're going to get to in a little bit. They come into a big matchup this week on the road in Chicago. So that's something to keep aware of, like big time injuries for the Packers. But also the Bears, Rome Odunze didn't even play last week because of a foot injury. It was like right before game time was announced, not. And then Luther Burden went out with an ankle injury. So now they're getting a little thin at receiver. I mean, yeah, they got DJ Moore, but other than that, who do they really have? And then other than that, the biggest one was Devontae Adams. He went out the Rams game with a hamstring injury, and at his age, that is something to be concerned about.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll slow the Rams down too much, but that is a big threat. He's been a big part of their offense, so that is something to keep an
And
eye
have
on.
we touched up on Mr. Ertz? Zachary Ertz?
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago.
I know that was a couple weeks ago, but I don't know if we brought it up yet. That could be career ending. I hope he
I hope
plays
not,
one more
but-
season, signs with the Eagles to
Yeah.
retire with us. But that was a nasty injury to watch.
Yeah, it
you
was.
know.
Did you see
Oh.
the mic'd up of him
Yes,
crying?
it was very sad.
I did not see that.
Very, very emotional. He knew right away. He said, "Yeah, I can't even move it. It's hyperextended."
Yeah.
And you could just like hear, even he was crying on his way into the locker room, and it's like you can only feel bad because even though he's a commander, like he played such an instrumental role in that first Super Bowl that, like, no matter what, he's just one of those guys that's always going to come back to Philly.
He's always going to be an
loved.
Eagle. He's always going to have
He's
open
always
arms.
going to be loved.
CJ, but it's almost like Darius Slay in a sense. I don't know if I haven't seen any real Darius Slay.
I miss that guy.
haters.
Bills, let him go.
But Zach Ertz is hated, or no. Zach Ertz is loved by every Eagles fan everywhere. I've never heard anybody be like,
Yeah.
Zach Ertz is a fraud. And if they are, they're an idiot. But,
But that's basically the injuries. Just kind of moving quickly. Do you have a question for us?
I do have a
You
question.
highlighted something about it.
It'd be awkward if he asked that one week. I'm just like, no.
His question is, why do we keep doing this thing?
Yeah, why do we keep no? My question is going to be back into relation with Tanner McKee, because I like to make up these scenarios. I like to, if you were, the owner of the Eagles, what's your let me paint you another picture, another scenario. I'm not hoping for this. Okay, I'm just saying worst comes to worst. Not tomorrow. Next game, Jalen Hurts goes up there and in theme tears an ACL. Tears an ACL. Oh my gosh. Something like that. Out for the season. Something ridiculous. Jalen Hurts hurts himself and he's out for the season. How far into the playoffs or into the postseason do you think that we could get with Tanner McKee?
What are you saying he tears his ACL? Are you saying like this week?
This week.
Okay.
Goes out there, doesn't
Jesse,
score anything. Let's see.
We'll let you go first. Please stop this Tanner McKee banter, please.
Yeah, no, I am afraid that the result would be the same as if we had him, if we had Hurts, but it would look a lot uglier on the offensive side as well. I still, unfortunately, think we are regardless, one and done or two and done type situation. Right now, what are we? The 3 seed, something like that.
Yeah, we're the 3 seed. We can't. I don't think we can go any lower, but we might be able to go up one more.
Yeah. So, as it's currently constructed, we're going up against the Niners, which, I don't know if any. I don't know if Hurts or
bring it on.
or Tanner could beat them at the dude. They've looked really good. Honestly, you're gonna think I'm nuts, but they haven't
played anybody, dude.
But they've won
Yeah, but it's easy to win when you're beating up on the Titans and you're beating up on the Saints and you're they're the teams they've beat this year. I think I might have said it last week, but the Niners, low key, if you look at their schedule, it's been a lot of fruitcake games, and it's they want to be called. That's their one good win this year is a 3-point win against the Rams when the Rams fumbled the ball. So I'll give you that.
But they've been the wins that they have had. They haven't been nothing burger wins. They're beating. They're doing what
Titans.
They're doing what they're supposed to do, though. They're beating good teams. Are supposed to beat up bad teams. I hate it, but this gives me bad vibes. Regardless.
Let's see, 49ers wins. So the first week of the year, we'll give it to them. They did beat Seattle. They beat them by 4. Then they beat the Saints. They beat the Cardinals. Lost to the Jaguars. Beat the Rams. Lost to the Bucks. They beat the Falcons. Lost to the Texans. They beat the Giants. Beat the Cardinals again. Beat the Panthers. Beat the Browns. Beat the Titans. So, realistically, we'll say the Panthers, as of now, still play. Well, they're not, because technically now the Buccaneers. So they've beat 1 playoff team or 2 playoff teams, and that was at the beginning of the year. They haven't beat a playoff team since October, the beginning of October.
But they beat them, and that
they did beat them.
I'm just putting the same excuse that you guys put on me the last time I was on this show when you brought up the Packers and the respect the Packers crowd. You know what I'm talking about, So listen,
What?
You know, like
Yeah.
they've earned their. Kyle Shanahan has earned his flowers with the
Yeah,
injury.
So
stuff
you're
that-
saying like a first round playoff loss?
Yeah, unfortunately I am, and regardless of who the quarterback is, I think with McKee, it might look a hell of a lot uglier on the offensive side of the ball. I think he would play worse, but I think at the same time, I don't know if with this offensive line that we have, honestly, as the season has gone on, like I'm not giving any less shade toward Kevin Tulo. But I really think people are underestimating the strength of this offensive line health wise, and that impact on the team. Not having an old pro in Lane Johnson and not having Landon Dickerson, it has been huge. We've seen that a ton with Saquon. I think a lot of the reason that he's now, I think it's A, the Madden curse, B, that offense.
He did run for 2,000 last season. That always wears out a running back on their follow-up season, you know. And it's happening the exact same with Derrick Henry as well. Yeah, nobody really talks about his season last season. He had 1,900 yards. I mean, that's fantastic. But of course, he was just a shadow to Saquon Barkley. And now it's like, what's happening with Derrick Henry? It's like the same thing that's happening with Saquon. He had a fantastic game. And you know what? JT next year, he's not going to look as good as he did this year if he hits 2,000 yards
he's
as well.
starting to fall off, but
exactly, you know, it's just.
Let's insert Chris to tell us that the Eagles would go 0-3 and the Cowboys would go 3-0 and win the division.
And this does include postseason too. I want to know where you think we'd fall in the postseason with Tanner.
So I think in your scenario, if McKee were to take over right now, or within, I don't know when Hurts would get hurt in the game, but let's say that he at least plays, a quarter in this game, gets his feet wet a little bit for 2 1/4 of a game, 2 games and a quarter. I think that with the way our defense is playing, they could 1,000% win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, chaos!
No way.
Serious.
Are you being serious?
This defense might be the best Eagles defense I've seen. They're playing that well right now.
They've carried our offense through thick and thin. Sadly, of course, they've been a carry. They're the reason we're here. If we had like an okay defense, we would be looking like more like the Chiefs. Okay, I'm just gonna say.
But I just think with that defense, and I think McKee is good enough where he's not gonna throw games away completely. I think he probably plays pretty smart football and will take care of the football. He's not going to make the flashy plays that Jalen Hurts makes at times. But I also think there's a couple throws that McKee can make that Hurts can't make.
Yeah.
That over-the-middle ball, his over-the-middle ball is so much better than Jalen Hurts's.
Yeah.
Not that Jalen Hurts isn't a good quarterback, but they just do things differently. McKee ain't going to take off for 35, 40 yards either, like Hurts can.
Here's my argument with the defensing. I agree. I think there are spurts where they can carry you for a long time, but we've seen. Let me put it this way: the game against the Bears, they play bad. They did, but I think the biggest reason that they did is because this offense wasn't able to do anything. The key to beating the Eagles this year, you've seen it game in and game out. The defense, it carries us, and then they wear you down on the ground, and they wear down Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, etc. And against a running back in this playoff scenario, in CMC, like I see, especially with a scenario with McKee in this, I see a low scoring game, but I see it to the point where the defense bends, and the offense does nothing, and then by the fourth quarter they've been on the field forever, and they wear down and break. And,
All right.
Look,
Yeah, I think that scenario actually winds up working out for the Eagles.
Get ready for the Tanner McKee hate. Look, come on, give him at least some credit. All right, Joey. Do something.
listen. So, in this scenario, I'll say this. So I'll look at it like last year in Washington, Jalen went down early in the first quarter. So say that happens again. The offensive line has been playing better. And as far as pass protection goes, they really have been a lot better. And I think Tanner McKee is I'll give it to him. He's probably a little bit better, like decision-wise, quicker than Jalen Hurts is. Okay. So I will give him that. I think that would work in his favor. He still has A.J. Brown. He's still got Devontae Smith. Really, I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. This run game is starting to get it together. So I think that would be a big help. I think also running out of just not even running the ball, but just running plays out of under center. I think that's something that Tanner McKee is probably way more comfortable with. And I think that's a wrinkle that this Eagles offense needs. And it would almost kind of be like a little bit better than like a Jared Goff in a sense, to where like he could run it out of play action. They could run the ball. They could throw the ball. Like they could do whatever they need to do. But ultimately, it will fall on the defense. And honestly, I agree with Chris. This defense could carry us to the Super Bowl.
They've carried us thus far.
The reason I say that is because, so look, their worst games have came against the Giants. Who else did they lose to? Like really bad. They lost to the Giants and then the Bears. And yes, the Bears are a good team. But
somehow.
I don't believe that anybody I don't even think the team expected them to come out and just run the ball the way they did with the success they did. And what I saw in that Bears game, honestly, a lot of it wasn't even as much as the Bears were following their blocks. It's their backs were really good on the cutback game. They were really good at going one way, and they would see it was cut. And like it's kind of what Saquon was doing last year and just hasn't been able to do this year. They would start following their blockers this way, see a hole, and bounce that way. And I think the Eagles defense was just overcommitting a little too much. And I think if they were to play them again, they would have a better strategy of how to stop that. I really do. I think Vic Fangio is really smart, and Vic Fangio is not going to get embarrassed twice. I'll tell you that. And honestly, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell have not gotten enough love this year. They are like absolute maniacs in the secondary. Like it's almost insane to me how little I hear Quinyon's name every broadcast. But that also goes, you know what? He's locking them down so much that like you don't even know he's there.
He's erased that section of the field.
He's putting them on Quinyonamo Bay, and they don't even know he's there. And then Cooper DeJean, week after week, is just impressive upon impressive upon impressive.
He's one of the best tacklers I've ever seen from the quarterback.
That and as a slot corner, like honestly,
he can play safe
against Ladd McConkey. Like Ladd McConkey should have shredded us up, and Cooper DeJean was there and there and there. Like he was just all over it. Now you know what? As far as Sunday's game with the penalty, Coop was 100%. Like it was a mega flop by Tyler Lockett, but Coop was 100% in the right. I don't care. But I think also getting Jalen Carter back and getting Lane Johnson back are going to be huge for this team. So if Jalen Hurts were to go down, but they get those two back, huge. Because the Eagles' record without Lane Johnson is horrendous compared to with Lane Johnson. And we saw the way Brandon Graham came in and played a defensive tackle. We saw the way we saw how the defense has looked the past couple of weeks. Even against the Chargers, 7 sacks. I know they have a horrible offensive line, but they could really do some damage in the playoffs. And then the last thing is just in the games where it's really mattered, like in the big, like kind of almost playoff atmosphere games. I want to say like the Packers, the Lions. There's one more I'm thinking of. I'll figure it out. But like those type games, the defense, like they just know they have to come to play. And they show up hungry, they show up ready, and it is absolute like just domination from start to finish. And it's kind of what Saquon like talked about. Like it's like the defense does like we're gonna impose our like offensively they're gonna impose their will on the defense. The defense just imposes their will on that offense. Like it doesn't matter who's lining up from them. Like Penei Sewell is one of the best, if not the best tackle in the league, and he was just getting thoroughly dominated by the Eagles defensive line. So I think the biggest key obviously is the defense, and underrated, Marcus Epps has been a good addition to this football team. It's given him some stability at safety, better than Sidney Brown, better than Makuba. Like it's just really good stability at safety, and that's something that they lacked, and that's something that they need. And shout out to Dory Jackson, because midway through the season,
He
you could
stepped up.
if you would have told me a Dory Jackson turns it around, I'd have been like, yeah, bro, you're smoking.
I would have laughed in your face.
But a Dory Jackson has turned it around. This defense looks elite. This defense looks, if not as good as, like, if not better, as good as last year's. So I think they're poised to make a run. And even if it's Tanner McKee at quarterback, I could very well see at least the NFC Championship game. Don't get me wrong, I am a little scared by the Rams. So if it ends up us in LA, you know what? Hey, I wouldn't be like distraught if it came down to a hard-fought game in LA and we lose. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
With Tanner
But-
McKee as the quarterback.
If Tanner McKee, I think Tanner McKee could step in and do pretty good.
I think he's one of the best backups in the whole league. Like of course that's not including like, you know, like the rookies that are sitting on the bench for their starting seasons or whatever. Or what was the Shadir Sanders situation, or Shador, however you say his name. But it all just simply it depends on Tanner McKee's performance, because you know you guys are proposing that, you know, maybe the defense can carry Tanner McKee through. And personally, you know, if too much is relying on the defense, you're going through the playoffs. That defense is going to get worn down. Like, you know, they might win the first 2 games or whatever, but championship, no. Like, if the defense can't carry us to a Super Bowl win, McKee's going to have to step up. I think he can. I think he's got it in him. We haven't seen enough from him to be like, you know, guaranteed. No, there's no guarantee, of course. But I think, of course, it depends on how McKee plays. I think McKee could do it, but realistically, I would guess an NFC Championship loss. McKee's the kind of guy where he could step up there and he's going to surprise people either way. He's either going to play so good people are going to be like, oh my goodness, that's Tanner McKee, or he's going to play so bad that people are like, where's Tanner McKee that we saw all the other starts? I think he's going to surprise either way. And of course, in this scenario. So that's my take on it. I'm going to play, you know, I think if he does well, you know, Super Bowl run completely. But if he does bad, the furthest we're going to get carried to by our defense is an NFC Championship loss.
Yeah, the lack of film on him too would help him.
Yeah, that's true.
The lack of film and just knowing what, because really the couple games he has played in were really meaningless. So it's like you can't even you can kind of use them, but it's like the teams they were playing had nothing to play for, so they really weren't probably trying even.
Yeah.
And
a lot of, you know, he had good accuracy, but not a lot of contests.
Yeah, last year was the run game too, so it's like most of the plays you're going to see is him turning to the left, turning to the right, and handing the ball off. So it's like there's not much you can base off of unless you just sell out to stop the run, and I really think he could burn you if you do that.
Yeah.
But let's move on. I'm going to kind of pivot here. So we're going to talk about the playoff scenarios first, and then we'll highlight like the games to watch. So in the AFC, there is 1, 2, 3. So 4 teams that could clinch a playoff spot, and then a team that could win a division. So the Bills, the Jags, the Chargers, and the Patriots. Well, no. The Bills, the Jags, and the Chargers. They're all 10-4. If they all win, and either the Texans or the Colts lose, all 3 of those teams are in the playoffs. Now, the Patriots just have to win and they're in. The Broncos, if they win and the Chargers lose, which we'll talk about that in a minute. If they win and the Chargers lose, they'll take the division because they're sitting in 12-2. Now, if the Broncos win and then New England and Buffalo lose, they'll take the number 1 seed. Now, jump into the NFC. It's kind of the same thing. You got the Bears, the Packers, the 49ers, and Seattle. What's up, Paul? The Bears, Packers, 49ers, and Seattle. If all 4 of those teams win and Detroit loses to the Steelers, then you've got all 4 of those teams in. All 4 of those teams in. Now, our Birds, if they win or if Dallas loses, it does not matter. We get the division. So and
that's till the end of the year.
Let's just make it clear we want them to win. We don't want to have to wait till Sunday, hope the Cowboys lose. We would rather the Birds win.
Yeah.
But in the off chance something happens, when we win on Saturday, we're taking the division. So those are the playoff scenarios for this week. That's how teams can get in. So most teams need the Texans or the Colts to lose in the AFC. In the NFC, everybody's rooting for the Lions to lose. But let's get into those Week 16 matches right now. We're going to kick it off with honestly, it might be the biggest game of the week. There's a lot of good games this weekend, a lot of them. But the biggest game of the week comes on Thursday night. The Rams at the Seahawks, 2 11-3 squads facing off head-to-head Thursday Night Football. Really, whoever wins this, I can't say will win the division, but whoever wins this jumps to the 1 seed, I believe. So if you're an Eagles fan, I believe you're rooting for the Rams in this one. And then we're going to, which it kind of sucks because we don't have a tiebreaker over the Seahawks. So if the Rams win, then we're going to need them to lose their next 2 to have a chance for the 1 seed, which, to be honest, guys, it's probably out the window. But the Rams and Seahawks, that's going to be a huge one. Huge one on Thursday night. And quite frankly, probably the biggest game of the week.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll get to the Eagles in a little bit. The second game, after our game on Saturday, probably second biggest game of the week, if not the biggest game of the week. This one's big. So right now the Eagles are the 3, well, at least for Eagles fans, it's big. NFC North fans, it's big. The Packers go to Chicago, play the Bears. We just mentioned a little bit ago how dinged up the Packers are. So this one might fall in the favor of the Bears. But if the Packers win, they're 10-4-1, and then the Bears will be 10-5. Now the Packers at 10-4-1 would actually, I think the Packers would move to the 1 or the 2 seed, huh? Since they only have 4 losses. Yeah. So this week wouldn't affect, but if the Packers were to lose again and the Bears were to lose another one or something, then it would move the Eagles up to the 2 seed. But it's kind of like the Eagles, if they win, they're locked in at the 3 seed, can't go any lower. But it would help us if the Packers won this week because the Bears do have a tiebreaker over us. So Packers-Bears, another huge one. Personally, I think the Bears are going to take it. Sunday, 4:30 game, latest game of the afternoon. You've got the Steelers going to Detroit. This is a big game for really both teams because if the Steelers can win this, they can pretty much lock up the division, I would say. Pretty much lock up a 4 seed at least. Kind of knock the Ravens out, knock the Bengals out. Browns are already out. I think the Bengals are already out, actually. If the Lions lose this, it's going to be detrimental because, like we just highlighted, the 3 teams or 4 teams are relying on them to lose to get into the playoffs, like if they lose. So it's going to be huge. Obviously, so I don't know if I said it right. The Bears actually need to win and Detroit to lose. Whereas the Packers, and then the Packers need to win and Detroit lose. But the Niners and Seattle just need either to win or Detroit to lose. So you got some teams relying on Detroit, relying on the Steelers, saying go Steelers, waving their terrible towels. Then 1 p.m., big game for us Eagles fans. big game for Chargers fans. Chargers go to Dallas. Dallas lost at home last week. That's something they really haven't done this year. Can the Cowboys save their season a little bit? Give them a 2% chance to make the playoffs if we lose. I don't think so. But anyway, then we got 1 p.m. The NFC South showdown. Bucks Panthers, 7-7 squads. Whoever wins this takes sole possession of first place in the South and can hope that the other one loses next week so their Week 18 matchup doesn't matter. But I think it's coming down to the wire. I think it's going to be a Week 18 brawl fest for the division. Second to last game we got to talk about. Jags go to Denver. Could be an underrated game. Maybe the Jags pull an upset. Trevor Lawrence, 6 touchdowns last week. Are the Jags getting hot? Who knows? And then finally, Monday, big game here. 49ers at the Colts. Like we kind of mentioned, pretty much any team besides the Broncos trying to get in right now, besides the Broncos and the Patriots, needs Indianapolis to lose. So that'll be a big game to keep your eye on. But let's talk about the Eagles because we know that's why we're all here. The Birds. Go Birds, Paul. You have a good night, brother.
Good night, brother.
The Birds. So we didn't really talk about
The Raiders.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So initial thoughts from Sunday. Chris, go.
Domination. Both sides of football, just basically perfect on both sides. I mean, there wasn't really anything to point out on either side. Like, Dallas got it, dropped the touchdown pass.
Yeah, whatever.
Then had
He
two other
scored two
catches,
other
like,
ones.
AJ
Who
Brown did
cares?
last week anyway.
But
Yeah,
besides
AJ Brown
that,
be
they were,
dropping too much.
they were basically perfect. Sidney Brown got another penalty. I think they should just cut him. I'm so serious. So, like, every single week he gets a penalty. And it winds up being
true.
it didn't wind up being a big penalty this time, but when they're going from getting the ball at the 10 to wind up getting the ball at the 35, that's a big difference. Like, you got to stop being a complete idiot and blocking the back every single time. And then, when you do finally get past the gunner, you run all the way past him. The guy runs for 15 yards down the field. Like, he's just not a good football player at all. It's beyond the whole Dennis thing. He just sucks. He shouldn't play.
Yeah. Jesse, what are your thoughts on Sunday's win against the Raiders?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Although that was the least amount of penalties we have had all year. I think we had like 3 total. That's been a big problem this year, especially on the offensive line. But yeah, I'm torn because Jalen Hurts had a great game. 12 for 15, 175 yards, a couple touchdowns, really, really nice throws to AJ, to Devontae, all that stuff. But, it's total domination on both sides of the ball. Nice pick there by Nakobe Dean, who I said would have an amazing game on the Philly Sports Pulse Thursday nights with my guy Adam. I mentioned that he was a guy to watch. He showed up big time. But, I'm torn. I don't know if this is like either the Raiders sucking, because the Raiders, they're bad. They are all-time bad. Although they have some nice playmakers. That tight end's good. And Max Crosby had a good game. Otherwise, they don't really have the playmakers that the Eagles do. But at the same time, this was the best game of the Eagles season, production-wise. And this could be a game that you build off of, because you're going up against the Commanders next week, who benched Jaden Daniels, right? And then you build on those 2 wins, and then you play Buffalo. That's going to be a big test. That I've had that game. I don't want to look too far ahead, but that is a game that I have had circled on my calendar for months, especially now that we've been a little bit of a threat. This game against the Raiders and this game against the Commanders coming up, they're big confidence. They have the ability to be big confidence boosters in my book.
Well, Mooney, what do you think about Sunday?
Look, I think that was fantastic. It was a good. People are gonna be like, you played against the what 2-10,
2-11 Raiders.
2-11 Raiders, and their backup QB. Look, I don't
2-12.
I don't care. We looked clean. We had good play calling on both sides. I don't care who we played. I don't care if we played against the college team. You know, that was the best we've looked in a while, and it really didn't look like it was because the other team was doing bad. Of course, that is always going to be an account. If we're going up against the Seahawks defense or the Texans defense, game would have looked a lot more different. But we were clean on both sides. There wasn't a lot of penalties thrown on us.
Yeah.
The one on DeJean, I'm kind of glad it happened because he did that. It did give Brandon Graham the sack stat. I don't know if you know that, because it was them declining the holding penalty to accept, you know, the personal foul, which gave that sack to Brandon Graham, and we ended up, you know, kind of stuffing anyway. So, I was really happy with that. We were clean on both sides, good play calling on both sides. Kevin Patullo had some good play calling, you know, but I'm happy. I'm really happy about that. I mean, a shutout against any NFL team is an achievement. It doesn't matter who you're playing. And we definitely needed that. I saw myself looking at my father and going, you know, I was like, Dad, this game, it's already the second half. It's been the first time in a while that I sat down to watch an Eagles game and didn't want to look away from the TV. It was entertaining. I mean, I sat through the entire Packers game. That was, oh my gosh.
Miserable.
I think I was the only one who stayed awake for the whole thing. And I barely did that. So, yeah, it was nice to watch an Eagles game where I could actually watch naturally. I'm not forcing myself pulling one of these. But, you know, it was great. I think it's something we can definitely build off of.
Yeah. It was a great game. It was yes, it was the 2-11 Raiders.
Yeah.
And that's how I was feeling. I was like, okay, it was the Raiders. Like, it nothing to be crazy hype about. But as I scrolled social media Monday morning, I came across a video posted by the Raiders of Max Crosby in the huddle before the game. No one wants us here, and we're coming to make a statement. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, big statement you made. 31-0. You got shut out, bud. Yeah, you might have played a game. You might have made a statement like, yeah, I'm still a good player, but your team did not show up.
There's a big difference between a me and a we. So.
Yeah. Your team did not show up at all. They were still in Las Vegas. They stayed out at Xfinity Live too much the night before or something. It just, like, it's what the Eagles needed. The Eagles needed it bad. Like I said last week, I didn't think we played, like, obviously it's going to sound like a Michael Parsons kind of comment here. Other than the turnovers, we didn't play too terribly Monday night against the Chargers, and we were still in position to win. But this is the game we needed just to get back into, like, hey, play Eagles football, like Nick Sirianni said. He said today, tough, detailed, focused together. Like, play Eagles-style football. And that's exactly what they did. Like you said with the penalties. They had 3 penalties all game. And that's something – yeah, exactly. 2 of them in one play. We've sat here – I know I've sat here for the last couple of weeks like, yo, penalties, we've got to clean it up. We've got to clean it up. And you know what? They did.
Clean.
I get it. Like, but that's where it's like, you know what? You can't even say, oh, it's the Raiders. No, that's the Eagles. That's the Eagles going, you know what? We're going to be disciplined this week. We're going to play our hearts out, and we're going to bring our best brand of football. It doesn't matter who it is, and I really think this is going to set them up for a nice little run into the playoffs, however far they go. And I don't think they're going to falter in the first round. I think it's going to be a second, third, maybe even a Super Bowl run. Who knows? But this was the game just to get right and to get us all feeling, okay, you know what? Let's take a breath. I know last week everybody was all, Tanner McKee, Tanner, we need him. We need him as a quarterback one. No. Like Jalen Hurts said, do y'all forget where I came from? Do you know what I've done? You know who I am? Exactly. That's QB1. That's a dog. And don't worry, because at the end of the day, This defense, bro. I don't care that it's the Raiders. I don't. It's a professional football team. They have the number 6 pick in the draft. They have the best tight end in the NFL. I get it. They had Kenny Pickett throwing him the football. But Kenny Pickett's a Super Bowl champion. No, they had Kenny Pickett throwing him the football, and the Eagles held him scoreless. They held him to 75 yards. Like, that is impressive for a football team. It's a professional football team that you held them to 75 yards in a single game. This defense is legit, and that's what's going to be our backbone. And hey, I think the offense is starting to figure it out. It might be slower than we have liked, or we would have liked. It might not look the same as it did last year.
Hopes have definitely raised.
That's how champions win. You've got to change it year after year after year. And we've busted on the Chiefs all show, but I'll give them their respect where it's due. They have done, like, it's what they've done for the past 5-6 years, where they've had to change things each and every year. Some years it was Patrick Mahomes going deep to Tyreek Hill. Some years, the last few years, it's really been that defense that they've relied on to be so good. So if the Eagles, I get it, last year was a big year with Saquon. This year he's not doing so hot. I think he's starting to figure it out. But if the Eagles can just continue to work on that, and then continue to just play disciplined, play focused, play detailed, like Nick Sirianni says, they're going to win football games. So I don't know how you guys are feeling about Saturday. We'll kind of go around again. Chris, if you want to start us off, what are your thoughts for Saturday? What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's over. I think they're going to crush them. I think they're just going to – I don't know why, but I'm usually not this confident over the Eagles, as you guys have seen. But I think they've kind of gotten their swagger back a little bit. And you just look at the way the defense is playing. If the defense continues to get 3 and outs like that, and the Eagles can control the ball on the offensive side, don't turn it over, it's going to be a bloodbath, because Marcus Mariota, he sucks. I mean, he's a decent backup quarterback in the NFL. But you can't tell me that he's going to go out and be able to do anything against this defensive line, these corners. He's just not. Honestly, the Eagles might get a pick 6 or 2, and that might be the end of the game. They're going to be that good.
Wow. Look, a Chaos Chris predicted win in the big 2-5. That's ridiculous.
Give us a score, Chaos.
Let's go 34-14.
Ooh, okay.
Who is this
And I think
man?
those are garbage time touchdowns.
Okay. Some Tanner time touchdowns is what you're saying?
No, garbage time for the Commanders. They're going to score 2
okay.
the late fourth quarter. Yeah.
Jesse, what you got for this weekend?
Actually, you guys take it real quick. My dog's going nuts.
Okay.
All right. He's doing what he can. Joey, you're kind of waiting for everybody else to dissipate here. Why don't you give us a little bit of that opinion? I know you've cooked something up in that dome of yours.
I'm still working on it.
You're still working on it?
I'm still working on it, honestly.
I mean,
that's why I like going last, because I can kind of collect my thoughts as everybody else kind of hear what everybody else says.
Yeah. Look,
Right.
I mean, are you good, Jesse? You got that?
I am. Yeah. All right.
Jesse's dog, we love you.
Jesse's
Yeah.
dog?
No, she's great. Shout out Meg. Shout out Maggie. But yeah, I got. You want a score prediction?
Yeah. Just give us your overall thoughts and then your score.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going up against Marcus Mariota and Commanders. Honestly, I got a 20. We'll go 23. 17. Eagles win. I think Saquon racks up a couple. And I really have been impressed. I've really been impressed with what we've gotten out of the Kobe Dean this year. He's been. I know we've got Jalen Phillips. I know we've got Coop, you guys talked about Quinion, but to me, the Kobe Dean has been the anchor of this defense. And with that, I know, hot take. But I really think I have the Kobe Dean, and I said this last week, and he went kind of off, but I think he's going to go off again. I don't know if it'll be, a game winning pick six or a huge forced fumble, big turnover, but I feel like he's going to make a big impact again. And listen, as long as you do more of those QB sneaks with Jalen Hurts, not the touch push, but those QB sneaks where he backs up it and then dekes out the defensive line, then he finds a hole up the middle, to bust a first down, and just give me more of those Dallas Goedert slant routes up the middle, and you're cruising. I don't understand why we have not targeted Dallas Goedert more this year.
Yeah.
AJ Brown.
He is one of the most underrated tight ends in this game.
Yeah,
I love him.
And he's the GOAT. And I think you get more of those. I don't know. Honestly, I sort of take back what I said about Saquon. After this game, there's still stuff that he needs to figure out. They definitely got him the carries, but it's just if you don't have a healthy offensive line on a game-to-game basis and you don't know what you're getting day to day, then I'm not confident that he'll go off again. But he showed spurts, so I don't think he's gonna get as shut down as he was. Maybe not, 1 or 2 touchdowns, but he'll have a nice game. But really, I look for Dallas Goedert and the Kobe Dean to show up, do damage, and carry the Eagles, carry them birds, and fly high all the way to Buffalo. Or are we playing at home?
We play in Buffalo next week.
Okay, flying up I-90 all the way to Buffalo and kicking their butts next week.
Yeah,
I know, hot take, but
well,
yeah.
I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth here because I'm going with my gut. All right, I think Jalen Hurts is gonna look good. It's not gonna be like a really high passing game for him. Like I don't think he's gonna throw. I think it maybe 200, 210, and that's a little high for Hurts sometimes. Not dragging him down. I think we're gonna have a good passing game. Not a lot of passing yards. I think Saquon's going to have a good 95 on the ground about. I think our defensive line is going to be fantastic, and we're going to see a few loose mistakes in the secondary, but it'll get cleaned up. They're going to give up a touchdown too, and Dallas Goedert is going to have himself a touchdown. And that's my prediction for the game. I think we're going to win. I think Chris had a really nice score prediction, so I can't say what he said exactly, but I'm going to say like 28-17. I think Birds might score a little bit more than that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've heard what you have all said, so now I can collect my thoughts and my opinion. No, honestly, so as much as I want to come on here and I want to go, the Birds are gonna crush them. They're gonna win. It's gonna be 1,000,000-0. I do stop and I remember it's a division game, and even though Marcus Mariota is the quarterback, I did watch this team a few weeks ago against the Broncos take the Broncos into overtime and go all the way down the field and almost tie the game and win the game. So what I think, though, I think the Eagles have a little bit more of an edge. I saw in that game against the Broncos defensive line was able to get after it. And I think the Eagles are going to be able to utilize that too. The Eagles have, I won't say it was good of a defensive line because Nick Bonito is out of this world, but the Eagles are going to be able to capitalize. I like what they did with Brandon Graham and the defensive line. I think they need to do that a little bit more, especially if Jalen Carter comes back. Line him up right there next to Jalen Carter. It is going to create such a problem for the Commanders. I think offensively, I really, really think that if we get Lane Johnson back this week, it would be huge. The Commanders are not a good run defense, and as much as they've struggled this year, I think that infusion of Lane Johnson next to Tyler Steen would kind of be like, yo, bro, like let's get it together. Let's do what we're supposed to do. Let's get our right blocks. Let's hit the holes for let's pave some holes for Saquon. And I think Saquon is going to have an outstanding game. Now, what concerns me is this is the first time we're seeing them since we absolutely dismantled them in the NFC Championship game. So what concerns me is not so like it doesn't as much because Jaden Daniels not playing. I see, like, if Jaden Daniels was playing and he was playing at the same level as he was last year, yeah, I would say completely 100%. This is a revenge game. We're gonna get smoked. Like, it is what it is. But I really think like Debo wasn't here last year, so he doesn't really like. He just hates the Eagles in general, but he just needs a cookie and needs to shut up. But
he needs. I'm gonna use that line. You need a cookie and need to shut up.
Yeah, like Scary Terry might have something to say. He might want to try and get up all on like Quinyon Mitchell, and they might try to exploit a matchup against Adoree Jackson. But I don't think he's gonna have much success. They lost Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz was a big threat for them. They don't have much in the way of a running game. I really do think the Eagles are going to come in here. I think it's going to kind of be a repeat of this week. The Eagles are just going to dominate. They really are. And as score-wise, I could see anything like a 35 to 10, 35 to 17. Like, the Eagles are going to trounce. I really think that. But also, in the back of my mind, it's a division game. So I'm going to knock a couple points down for the Eagles. Say the Commanders defense comes to play. So we're gonna call it like a 28 to 10, or like what you said, 28-17. So yeah, it's somewhere in that range. I think the Commanders are gonna make it a game for the most part, but in the fourth quarter, what we've been missing all year is a Saquon breakaway, put away touchdown. And I think this is the perfect game for it. This is the perfect time for him to get that breakaway, just take the NFC crown with him, or the NFC East crown with him, and go Birds. That's all I got to say about that. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you guys tonight. I want to appreciate and thank Chris for coming on. I want to thank Jesse for coming on.
Oh yeah.
As always, Jesse, host of Philly Sports Pulse. They're on. Is it 7:05 on Thursdays?
We shoot for there. We shoot for 7.
Okay. No, yeah. So about 7:05 on Thursdays. Check that one out. As always, check the main 302 Birds show out tomorrow night, 8:05. I know I won't be able to make it. I have a family Christmas party this weekend, but Saturday, if you are free, head on out to Main Street right next to Klondike Kate's, Founding Brothers. We're doing another 302 Birds watch party. Starts at 4:30, I believe. 3:30 maybe. I'm not quite sure, but you get there between 3:30 and 4, somebody will be there. But yeah, just check them out. Doing another live post-game show. Go enjoy it with your friends. Enjoy it with your family. Bring them out to Founding Brothers. Chris, are you going to be there?
No, it's my birthday weekend. I'll be on the shore.
Chris, all right. Jesse,
happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Hey, happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, Chris. Yeah, everybody in the comments say happy birthday, Chris. If you're still.
By the way, on my birthday, the Eagles always win. Saying that, Deshaun Jackson.
Is your birthday December 20th?
19th.
So sad.
But it works.
So maybe the Flyers will win.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Maybe.
But Deshaun brought the punt back on my birthday.
Ooh.
So it's usually a good weekend. So
okay,
we're gonna win.
Well, yeah, go Birds then.
Birds.
But yeah, other than that, don't got really much anything for you. Hey, by the way, just found this out a little bit ago. Jordan Romano is no longer a Philly.
See, that's what I rate. That's what I raised my hand. I didn't know, yeah.
I know we covered the Phillies very slightly on the show, but Adolis Garcia is a Philly.
I don't know much about the Phillies.
Polar Bear Pete going to the Orioles, crazy. But other than that, guys, we appreciate you for watching. Hope everyone has a great week. And like always, go Birds!
This is for you.
Allen fans don't know what these are.
Gets it, Saquon Barkley. First down. Barkley. Saquon. E-A-G-L-E-S-E.